Welcome back to Animated Movies Recaps. The film starts in 1959, where two fishermen are seen in the sea. Now it is known through their conversation as they are talking about the sea monsters. And there are also found many sea monsters in this area, but they think here as these all are the fantasy-based stories and myths. At the same time, a sea monster begins to steal the things from their ship. Later, they both try to catch it, but that monster is not entrapped by them. Now a sea monster named Luca is seen under the water here. Luca was playing with its pet fish. Suddenly, he notices the fallen things. These things belong to the human beings. When it looks upside, then it observes a ship and it moves to its house stealthily. It is revealed here that Luca is not dangerous at all, and it fears from the human beings in the same way as human beings are feared. And it lives with its parents under the water, where its parents explains to it that human beings are threatening, and there is need to have a distance from them. But Luca's dreams were opposite. It wanted to discover the world out of the water. One day, Luca finds a new sea monster. Its name was Alberto. Alberto's hobby was to gather the things of the human beings fallen under the water. Luca follows Alberto and notices that it has gone out of the water. Luca stays for a while. After this, Alberto drags it out of the water. Now it was the first experience of Luca out of the water. It is exposed here that the sea monsters become like the human beings, coming out of the water. Luca remembers the advice of its parents all of a sudden. How is he to avoid from the human beings? And it goes back to the water immediately. Now Luca does not sleep for the whole night, because it was a new experience for him. Next day, Luca moves at the edge of the water, but it does not get courage that it may step out of the water. Alberto comes here again with its gathered things, and it brings Luca out of the water. As Luca is dried, it is transformed into human being. Alberto shows him the house out of the water, where Luca observes the different things. And all fallen things underwater were used to be brought in-house by Alberto. Alberto used to live with his father. Now Luca thinks that the most beautiful thing of the world is out of the water. Now Luca and Alberto had befriended closely. Alberto had also taught Luca how to walk. Now Luca notices a poster in the house of Alberto, where Vespa bike was printed. Alberto tells it here it was the best thing among the human-made things, and the whole world may be toured by it. But Luca says to Alberto that they should make Vespa by using the kept things at house. Now they both are indulged in a new experiment. There should be manufactured a new bike. They try their best to manufacture this bike, but they are not succeeded. They both determine that they will surely ride on VISPA for once. On the other side, Luca's parents get to know that Luca is daily moving out of the water. Afterwards, they say to Luca, "Move to the depth of sea, along with your uncle." Being sad, Luca tells the whole story to Alberto, going there. Now, Alberto suggests Luca run away. Alberto also presents an idea to Luca with it. Just let move to nearby city where your parents will remain unable to search for you, and we will tour the world taking a new Vespa. How could Luca not agree with this idea of Alberto? So they both move to that city, leaving that place. After going there, they have to confront a man named 𝒸𝒃𝓃. 𝒸𝒃𝓃 had also a Vespa here. They both feel excitement seeing it. It is known here that there is held a championship in this city each year. There is awarded a lot of money after being won in it, and this championship was being won for the last many years by 𝒸𝒃𝓃, and he has purchased this Vespa with this money. 𝒸𝒃𝓃 makes fun of them, noticing their pleasure. Now a girl comes here whose name was Julia. She takes both of them away from 𝒸𝒃𝓃. She tells them that there were 3 parts of championship, including bicycling, swimming, and pasta eating. She also tells that she has also been trying to win this championship for many years. It was clear to both of them hearing this conversation. The dream of getting Vespa is fulfilled only in the championship. After this, they request Julia if they make a partnership with them so that they may win the championship. Julia gets ready after a great thought, because she also wanted to win the championship. After it, they 3 decide that Luca will participate in the bicycling competition, Alberto in pasta, eating, and Julia in swimming. They had knowledge that they cannot go near the water. Being wedded, they will move to their original form. After this, Giulia arranges their meeting with her father, who was a fisherman. Giulia's father was one-handed from his childhood. She reveals her entire plan to her father. But she knows that her father has not enough money, that he may pay the entry fee in the championship. Later, Alberto and Luca help them in fishing. They catch a number of fish from the sea because of having the knowledge of sea. After this, they get enough money that they may pay the fee of championship. They face 𝒸𝒃𝓃 as they three reach there, and he makes fun of their team, noticing it, and he takes oath that he will surely defeat them. On the other side, Luca's parents reach the city while searching it, where they were checking after falling each kid in the water. Is it not Luca and Giulia was also making ready Alberto for pasta eating competition and Luca for the bicycling competition? They teach Luca swimming, where they are seated in a boat. 𝒸𝒃𝓃 reaches there, and their secret remains hidden, which was nearly its exposure. Luca hears the voice of its mother as they return their house. When he checks, then he observes that its parents have reached here while searching it. Luca and Giulia had befriended closely. Giulia shows him her books, and she also tells about her school life. Alberto begins to feel jealousy because of spending a lot of time. Alberto feels that Luca does not talk to it much now, and he spends time more with Giulia. And it also notices that it is talking about Giulia every time. In the next days, there are only going on their practices because they were in great struggles to win the championship. Giulia's father helps them in all these matters. One day, Alberto had gone for bicycling practice with Giulia and Luca. It observes its mother there, who recognizes Luca. But Luca runs away after riding on the cycle. One day, Luca asks Giulia, "Is he join her school?" Hearing it, Alberto flies in rage, and their dispute starts. Alberto reminds Luca, "Have you forgotten? What was our plan? We had Top purchase the VISPA, so that we may go for world tour." But Giulia reconciles between them while reaching there. Alberto does still not calm, and it transforms into its real appearance, moving into the water. It appears as a sea monster before Giulia, and it asks, "Will your school administration allow the sea monster to admit?" Giulia gets anxious, and Luca pretends here, as he had no awareness about Alberto. And he had no knowledge about this secret, that Alberto is a sea monster. Meanwhile, 𝒸𝒃𝓃 appears with some of people, and he makes Alberto run. 𝒸𝒃𝓃 notices that Alberto is leaving, and how much grieved he is. It understands that it has hurt too much to its friend. When Giulia and Luca return their house, then Luca talks strangely. It was not understanding anything. After this, Giulia throws water on it, and it begins to transform into a sea monster. Giulia understands here that Luca has hidden this secret from her, and it is also sea monster. Seeing it, Giulia says to the sea monster, "Do you know that there is a reward on sea monster in the city? You should leave from here." Then Luca tells Giulia, and its parents wanted to keep itself away. Being dejected, it moves away after saying it. After this, Luca moves to Alberto's house, where it observes that there are a few drawn lines on the wall. When Luca asks Alberto, then it tells Luca that it is drawing these lines from that time when its father had gone, leaving it. Alberto says to Luca, "I am perhaps very bad. Consequently, my father left me." Now, Luca reminds him here that it was their dream to purchase VISPA, and they will have to struggle for this. And Alberto asks Luca to go away. After it, Luca determines alone that it will win the competition alone, and it will purchase VISPA. Championship is started on the next day, and the first part of competition was swimming. Now, Luca appears, wearing the metal suit, so he may remain secure from being wetted. Giulia warns it here how championship members have sent the people to capture the sea monsters. Luca does not agree with it, and the first part of competition is completed here. Further, there is pasta eating competition. All people begin to eat pasta immediately. Giulia wins competition here. Giulia quickly moves away for bicycling after eating pasta. Afterwards, 𝒸𝒃𝓃 was also after her. When Luca finishes its pasta, when it goes for cycling, then its parents reach there. but it moves ahead while ignoring its parents, because it had to complete it at any cost. Afterwards, it rides bicycle with full speed. Then it moves ahead, crossing Giulia and Ercole. It starts rain after passing a little distance. After this, Luca stops under a shade, feeling a fear of being wetted. It notices that Alberto is moving towards it, holding an umbrella at a little distance. Ercole pushes Alberto, coming there. Alberto's real look is revealed because of being wetted in the rain, and Ercole entraps it, throwing a net on it. Luca takes Alberto away, coming to its bicycle before it catches it. They both observe here that they both are sea monsters. Now Ercole follows them holding a spear, so it may kill them after capturing. They were passing the city quickly. Ercole reaches here while following them. Giulia damages its bicycle, reaching there before Ercole attacks them. Giulia is also fallen down while pushing Ercole, and Luca and Alberto picks her up. Now fishermen and many people gather here, so that they may catch both of these sea monsters. At the same time, Giulia's father reaches there, and he declares that Luca and Alberto are his friends, and they have won this championship. Now Ercole asks help from his friends, but in vain. Giulia feels excitement hearing it. At last, championship has been won by a new person and Ercole defeated. After this, it is seen now how many citizens were sea monsters there, and they gradually appears in their real look. Later, it is seen how all human beings have accepted the sea monsters, and they have greeted them in the city. Now they both purchase a 𝒓𝒆𝒅𝒊𝒕𝒔 with the prize money. It was old. They repair it so they may fulfill their dream. After this, it is seen that Giulia's father is coming to drop Giulia at her school, and Luca and Alberto had also reached here to say to her farewell. Luca was little grieved. As Giulia gets in the train here, Alberto hands over a new ticket to Luca. That it is your ticket. Alberto tells Luca that it sold that Vespa so that Luca may also go to school. Luca's parents reach here, holding its bag, and they permit it that it may go to school. Luca offers Alberto, "Come with us." But Alberto tells it that it will stay behind here with Giulia's father, so that it may help him. Afterwards, it is seen that Luca and Alberto are contented in that train, because Luca's dream of education is also fulfilling here, and the movie completes on this scene.